Let me go to Alex in New York. Hello, Alex. Alex, are you there?
Hi, Glenn. Yes, I am. Hi.
Hi. Go ahead.
Sure. So I'm calling in from upstate New York, where we definitely have a situation on our hands here with the solar farms that our governor is pushing very, very hard. They are absolutely using it as a land grab to take our best farmland. And in the case of near my farm here, they're trying to put in a solar farm on a protected grassland habitat that New York State already designated as an important habitat, except when big solar comes to town. And we're currently fighting that up here. I meet with a coalition of people across the state, really amazing people who are battling this in every village in upstate New York right now. And we definitely have a situation on our hands. I call it a runaway train.
Yeah, just keep fighting. I don't know how you fight it in New York, but just keep fighting because there are communities around the country that are fighting things like this that are winning. I don't know about New York, but we've got to have our farmland, and it kills me. You know, I talked about this the other day. It absolutely kills me that the people could not have nuclear energy. No way we can have nuclear energy. But the minute big tech needs nuclear energy, they can build as many as you want. I mean, it's so disgusting. I want to talk to you about energy on something else. The solar thing does not work. And as a man who has spent maybe $1 million and a half on alternative energy for a ranch I have up in the mountains that has no power to it, and over a 10 or 12 year period, I have just poured money into it, and it's a nightmare. It does not work. It doesn't work. You can't run anything of any significance. Running my studio, just my studio alone has been an absolute nightmare in there. It doesn't work. Okay. Solar and wind, it might be good for a little add-on, if you live in Phoenix, or I don't know, on the sun, but it doesn't work. At least to the scale that we need. But just the other day, do we happen to have the clip from the prediction show where I made a prediction of what was coming next year on energy? Can we play that, please? I think in 2025 was the year, as I said, that we started really understanding AI and what is coming to some degree. And we understood, energy is going to be a problem. I think 2026 is going to be the first year that we see things like Texas having rolling brownouts for a week at a time. I think you're going to start to see the strain on the grid by the end of next year in ways that you would never have expected in the United States. It's just growing exponentially. Okay, I think I said that on Wednesday's show. We had a prediction show of what the biggest stories and what are the predictions. And when I said that, I'm like, at the end of next year. Let me give you this from the Associated Press today. The amount of ERCOT's large load interconnection requests ballooned to more than 230 gigawatts this year, a massive increase. Now, last year, December 2024, ERCOT needed 63 gigawatts. A year later, this December, the load that is required is 230 gigawatts. That's a lot more than they needed to go back to the future. You're going to see the grids are not built for this. More than 70% of the large loads are for the data center. The data centers are just beginning to be built. We don't have the energy. And I'm telling you, this is going to be the Achilles heel of this administration. And believe me, it will only be worse with a Democratic administration. This is going to be the Achilles heel because we can't build these power plants fast enough. And while Donald Trump is fast tracking these nuclear power plants, it's not fast enough. Because as we build these data centers, what's going to happen is your energy, you're going to start to have rolling brownouts. Also, because of these data centers, you're also going to see the unemployment go up. If you start to have high unemployment, high prices, and rolling brownouts to where you're having a hard time with electricity yourself, but the data centers for these Silicon Valley companies, they're getting your power. I'm telling you, the Bubba effect is just the beginning. This will be an absolute nightmare for all politicians.
I'm so pissed off.
What?
I was on this show. They were like, hey, you want to be on a prediction show? You'll be squaring off against the guy that predicted Osama bin Laden, the financial crisis, and the caliphate. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just knew it. I didn't know it was going to happen that quick. But like 2 days later.
2 days later.
And it comes,
Texas is in trouble. And as goes Texas, so goes America. So goes America, so goes the world. Texas has got to get serious about, and I know they are to some degree, but the president has got to get rid of all of these restrictions, and Texas has to get all of these, and we have to concentrate on electricity, and not just electricity for the average homes, for these data centers, but for the average homes. The grids are already under strain. They're not, the problem is if they start taking this electricity off of the grid, the old grid, you can't pour more electricity into that grid. The grids are already at the breaking point. They're old, they're brittle, they're not prepared for what we have to do. That's why they have to build these nuclear power plants at the server farms, because they cannot go on to the system because the system can't handle that much power. We are in real trouble, and everybody is still talking about solar power and everything else. You're out of your freaking minds. Nobody has any idea. Stu, I'm sorry. Stu's like, watch your language, mister. I'm sorry,
that
Mr.
F
Potty
you hit
Mouth.
really hard at the beginning. I was wondering what road we were going down.
I mean, you're out of your mind. People have got to wake up to between now and 2028. I can't emphasize this enough. If you've listened to me for a long time and you heard me say, I'm telling you, we're going to have a financial meltdown, and it is going to be the worst. It's gonna, you'll lose your 401k, you'll lose everything. Get your money out of the system. I was saying that in 2006, 2007, and no one was listening. Thank God a lot of the listeners were listening, and they saved their money and got it out in time. I'm telling you now, with just as much surety in this, the world is going to change in such profound ways between now and 2028, in ways you cannot even imagine at this point, that you have to be, forget your money, forget everything else. You have to be spiritually in tune. You have to be rock solid in who you are, what it means to be human, what it means to be alive, what's important, what's not important. And this is so hard. I mean, I'm a guy who's in this business. I'm telling you, this is why in this last week, I've spent more time on that woman in Canada than I have on really important things that are happening politically, because the most important thing we can do is realign ourselves with truth, universal truth. Humanity must be preserved. Your life is worth saving. Your life is worth living. Don't go down the road of madness with the rest of society, because right now these gigantic corporations, in Silicon Valley, they are promising us the only way out. Listen to me carefully. The only way out to pay off our debt or to survive our debt is to have something that takes our country and pushes it our GDP up, by 10 points. All of a sudden, if that happens, then we're starting to make more income tax revenue and we can pay the debt. We can afford the things that we've already, spent money on. If we don't have that, we're into a different bad scenario world. So they're promising us that, but at the same time, they're promising us we can pay the debt, we can lead the world on this, but we also are not going to have a lot of jobs. Oh, and by the way, to do that, we're also going to have to take energy and maybe for a while take it from the people who can't afford food, don't have jobs, don't have meaning, and don't have power. That doesn't lead to any place good at all. Warning, it's coming. Please, please pay attention to those things that are meaningful.